Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is Transformers Power the Primes Swoop in 4 minutes or less. Transformers Power the Primes Swoop is a deluxe class Transformer standing about 6 inches tall at the top of his head fin, his crest, his, cranial mounted vertical stabilizer. Swoop is a robot man that transforms into a pterodactyl. Scratch that. Swoop is a pterodactyl that transforms into a robot man. You know, actually, I'm not sure about this now that I'm thinking about it. I know Optimus isn't a truck by nature, that's the thing he turns into, and that can be changed, but I don't know how it works with Transformers whose alt modes are other living creatures. Which part is the constant? Can Swoop be a pterodactyl that turns into a boat if he wanted to? He's got some of the modern posability that vintage figures are always lacking, so he can do more than just stand there holding his sword. At the same time, his design is just about as Generation 1 as you can get and still incorporate all the gimmicks that this figure has, and he has a lot of them. It's almost like Hasbro had a long-term strategy here. You don't see this kind of backwards compatibility in lines very often. Not only is he obviously a Transformer with 2 basic modes, but he's got a 3rd arm mode since he is a combiner, which means his chest houses the giant combiner peg, and he's also a, what are we calling them, primer? He's a Power the Primer? As a combiner, he's got a giant Combiner Wars hand accessory that can also hold a Titan's Return Titan Master or a Power the Prime's, Prime Nugget? I should have done some research before I started this. The package doesn't tell you much, and I haven't been keeping up on the cartoon or any of the actual mythology beyond their names. As far as I can tell, the Combiner Wars hand can be attached to Swoop's chest in Robot Man mode, so he can carry around the severed head of one of his friends like a modern-day Dr. Theopolis, or, for the younger collectors in the audience, that guy from The Hangover with the baby. The Dinobots are combiners now, and that's weird to me. The first wave features Swoop, Slag, and Grimlock. Sludge and Snarl are further down the road. I know there are previous examples of it, and I know that third-party intellectual property leeches have been making combining Dinobots for a while now, but it still feels weird. It never occurred to me when they were first released that they should or could have been a combiner team. You either were inherently a combiner or you weren't. Crazy to think that there are fans growing up thanks to Combiner Wars just assuming that every Transformer has the ability to combine. Is this what till all are one means? Until all can combine into one giant Transformer? Swoop was one of my favorites during the G1 era, not because he was a Transformer, but because he was a robot pterodactyl and a robot that could transform into one another. There's a difference that's kind of hard to explain. I did like that he transformed lowercase t, but it's more that the Transformers mythology, capital T, had nothing to do with my liking the figure. You could have sold me that figure with any branding, Star Wars, GoBots, Converters. Falling under the Transformers brand proper was not important, and his appearance in cartoons was never a consideration. That said, while I love the translucent plastic on his beak as a throwback to the G1 design, I personally would have preferred a red toy-accurate chest instead of the blue cartoon-accurate chest. For me, Rumble was always red and Frenzy was always blue. If you haven't been involved in the Prime Wars trilogy up until now, then this is an easy pass, but if you've been waiting for a proper, modern Hasbro Swoop that also happens to work as a combiner with all of those other combiners you already own, then this is a must-have, so buy it if you see it, and if you see 2, leave 1 for the next collector. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Share this video with your paleontologist friends and let us know in the comments who your favorite Dinobot is. I have one. For me, it's Swoop overall, but it was very briefly Grimlock, but that's only because prior to getting a Swoop, I found a Grimlock at a neighborhood park near the slide one day. Pretty sure I knew the kid that it belonged to at the time, but the finders versus keepers legislation was already well established at that point. A jury of my peers would certainly have ruled in my favor that the Grimlock legally belonged to me.
Agreed.
Case closed.
Cut.